everyone, welcome back to Week Ahead Astrology Breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and this week we have a lot of shifts. Mercury and Venus will be ingressing into Capricorn. We have the full moon in Gemini, and really as I was preparing, it really seemed like such obvious expand, contract, expand, contract. So there'll be certain days where you may feel extremely motivated, where you know what you need to do, and then certain days where you'll need to take a step back and maybe prioritize the rest. And I know I say this a lot, but it bears repeating because I think that sometimes we need the reminder. But this week especially, even remember how you were feeling during the eclipses, being very intentional, being grounded with your energy, not watching news or going on social media because you're bored. I would even pose this as a challenge for everyone because I know many of us do this. But let's say you're waiting for the elevator, waiting for an appointment, waiting for the Uber, or just trying to kill some time. I would challenge you not to go on your phone and just breathe. Just take that moment, maybe close your eyes or just be present in your body. Maybe give gratitude to your body that you don't instantly reach for the phone or start thinking about what you need to do. Just see how that works, because there is a lot of mental activation. That full moon in Gemini can go one of two ways, which we'll talk about, but that's just a challenge I would pose. If you don't need to be on your phone, maybe it's in a different part of your home. Maybe it's just on airplane mode. Maybe it's off completely. You literally turn it off to make that distinction of saying, I'm not going to give my energy to my device for the rest of the evening. And just see how that feels. And then that will very much help you, because with all these activations, with planets ingressing into different signs, I believe that it'll be very obvious where you need to put in the work and the discipline to set up proper structures to help you expand, especially with all that Capricorn energy. So let's dive in, shall we? So we are starting on Monday, December 5th. It's December. I feel like we were just talking about Venus retrograde or the eclipses. I feel like between January and November, it's like, what is time? What happens between those months? So Monday, this is a good expansive period. This is almost kind of like knowing what you need to do and being very focused and disciplined with your energy. We have the moon conjunct the North Node, conjunct Uranus, but then it is making that square to Saturn. I do like this though, because the moon is building in strength, right? Like we're leading up to that full moon. So there is this energy, this momentum, knowing what needs to be done, or feeling of a completion happening, or a feeling of something momentous is about to take place. So claim that there's something huge coming, that there's a big opportunity, big clarity, big love. Like we're having these energies with the moon in Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus. So even though it's making that square to Saturn, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's then allowing us to say, do we want to continually feel more safe, more secure, more wealthy? Then there might be certain things that we need to limit or moderate, like we were talking about with the social media, or being on our phone, or not allowing our thoughts to be dispersed, but instead focused in a way that's going to help us. We can even see here Mercury and Venus, especially Mercury, making that square to Jupiter. It might even be a bubbling over of ideas. How I was thinking about this was, one year when I was in university, I took a summer course. I took physics because I didn't want that mark on my transcript when I was applying for dentistry. And it was really intense. It was 3 weeks, and you were in class for like the first 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and then you had your lab, and you would just do that every single day. There'd be certain days where you didn't have a lab, but you just like come home, it'd be 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. You would study all the notes that you did, and then you just do it all over again. And it was a lot, but I knew that there was an end in sight. I knew in 3 weeks it would be over. I knew this would make it so much easier for my next year of university. And so with all these ideas, it might be overwhelming, or it might feel like it's a lot, right? Mercury square Jupiter, a lot of abstract ideas, a lot of your dreams. I'm going to talk about dreams in a moment, not just from like when we're sleeping, but our dreams and our hopes and what we aspire to become or to do. But there may be this push and pull between what feels comfortable and what needs to be done. I think if you can lean into having both, that you don't necessarily need to choose one or the other, it can be the best of both worlds. It can be like, do we want sushi or Italian? Why not both? Why can't you have sushi as the appetizer and then have pizza for Maine. Like, why can't you just do that? So thinking of ways where it can be working in your favor instead of maybe having to choose if or one between the other, right? See how that can shift things. So a lot of things this week are going to be dependent on your mindset. Now, Tuesday. This is going to be the last day with Mercury in Sagittarius. It's going to move into Capricorn later that day, have its first full day in Capricorn on Wednesday. But again, this also is playing into this effect of Mercury square Jupiter. And I mean, Mercury also has to do with commerce and business, right? Not only just communication. So there could be a lot of offers or a lot of things that are on the table. And now Venus is in the game too, within a very close 4-degree orb of Saturn. There could be a lot of blessings that are coming through in that Sagittarius and Pisces part of your chart. And this can be sometimes too, where it's like, if all the energy is coming in from that part of your life, enjoy that part of your life, or maybe give that more energy. It might not be what you want necessarily. Maybe it's you're getting a new puppy, but you wanted a partner instead. It's like, well, enjoy the puppy. Most people would be pretty happy with that. Don't be like, oh, I wish I had a partner to enjoy this puppy, whether it be nice if I could have some help. You have this beautiful puppy, enjoy that time with the puppy or with the pet. Or it could be that money is going really well right now, but you have to use some of that money to get your health back in check because you might be feeling sluggish. You might be wanting to go back into the gym and get your fitness back in shape. So there's going to be some trade-offs, and that's okay because we want to acknowledge the expansion and contraction. But this also can be a culmination of what you have been experiencing or major themes in that Sagittarius house in your chart. So really take heed of that so we can understand those themes and how we can apply them to this expansive energy of Jupiter, or where we are being called to maybe increase our faith, our spiritual practice, our creativity, right? Those are all nice keywords for Neptune as well. And with the moon making that trine to Pluto, this is where it's kind of like an expansive energy as well of this is what needs to be done, or this is the truth, or this is where I really want to go in and obtain maybe some more power, some more control, so I have a greater sense of security, right? So maybe that download came in on Monday is like, I need to do this, and it just gets further reaffirmed on Tuesday. That Mercury Jupiter square is like, here's all the opportunities, here are the resources, here are things that can help you. And then we move on to Wednesday. So Wednesday at approximately 11:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have that full moon in Gemini. We now see, of course, that Mercury is in Capricorn. That's important because the lunation here is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So it's definitely going to be a different tonal shift in terms of, like I said, I feel like this full moon in Gemini can go one of two ways. One of being that the moon is going to be conjunct Mars retrograde. That can be a lot on our mind. That can be a lot on our nervous system. That could be stress leading to sickness or illness or burnout because this cortisol or this trauma or this pain in our mind can no longer be avoided. On the other side, where I feel like it might be more positive, I'm in a bit more, just because the moon is going to be an aspect to Jupiter, right? Like by the time it gets to those mid degrees of Gemini, it's then making an applied square to Jupiter. So I'm a little bit optimistic here in the sense of, if we know what's hurting us, or if we know what is challenging, or if we know what is difficult, we then are open to getting help. It's kind of like when you have a toothache and you're like, is this a cavity? Is this something I need to be worried about? Maybe I'll check up on in a couple of days. When it gets to the point where it's throbbing, you know you have to go to the dentist. So yes, it's not ideal that your tooth hurts, but you know that you have to go. It's not like you can kind of play this by ear. So there might be something that's so blaring in your life that you're thinking, I need assistance. I need help with this. How I've been seeing this in client consults in the past few days is that there's this fear that it's not going to work. It's the clients that have been doing the work. They have a very strong spiritual practice. They believe in the work, but their mind is convincing them otherwise. And I will be honest, when I further probe these clients, I'm asking, who are you talking to? Where are these thoughts coming from? Often it's from family, or what they're reading on the news, or what is going on social media that's making them doubt it because they're seeing people in their vicinity experiencing what they want, which makes them feel insecure, even though they know that the work works, which goes back to one of my thesis statements at the start of this video by saying, please protect your energy. Please ensure that you're not allowing outside influences to creep into your mind. It's like first thing in the morning, we know this is the best time to get grounded, to set intentions. It would be like if you had a beautiful garden, it's the beginning of spring, it's fertile, you've done the work all year to make sure that the soil is rich. And instead of planting the seeds at the beginning of spring, you allow whomever in your garden to trample it, to plant whatever seeds that they want. They don't really care about your well-being. They're just doing what they want to do. And then you come back a month, 3 months, 6 months later, and you're like, why do I have a whole bunch of beets in my garden? I don't want beets. I wanted cucumbers. I wanted broccoli. I wanted corn. If you're allowing other people's influence to affect you every single day, of course you're going to be upset. Of course you're going to be frustrated. Of course you're going to doubt the work because you don't have that discipline. Hello, Mercury in Capricorn, to set the proper structures to support you so that no matter what anyone says or does, maybe it'll affect you a little bit. Maybe it won't affect you at all because you're so confident in the work, in your boundaries, in your worth, that nothing else matters. Going back to the tooth example, if you brush your teeth every day, if you floss, and you are diligent about every single day, if maybe one of your tooth or teeth hurt, you're like, oh, this isn't really a big deal. Maybe it's just something I ate. Maybe I just need to ease off something for a moment. And then a couple of days later, it doesn't hurt anymore. That you're not going to book an appointment to go see a dentist because you're like, I've had faith that I've taken care of my teeth every single day. I'll give this a couple of days. Maybe it's just the moon in Capricorn making some tricky aspects because Capricorn rules the teeth. I had a very similar situation to this during eclipses. I was like, oh, my tooth hurts. And then a week later, it was fine. I'm like, oh, that's South Node in Scorpio. It was just a number. If you know, you know. So, like I said, that full moon in Gemini can go one of each way. I do believe it'll make something very obvious where work needs to be done. And it's going to be very clear or pointed either on the full moon or the days after where that work structure or boundary can assist us to make something significantly easier moving forward. We can even see on Thursday, like Thursday is quite a contractive energy in my opinion, because we just faced that full moon conjunct Mars. And then also the moon is making a square to Neptune. If we are not careful, then these doubts and these fears can manifest as escapism, as going back to toxic lovers, as abusive substances very, very quickly, because we just want something to drown out the pain, the frustration, all these limiting thoughts and beliefs. It could also be thoughts around the mother, of course, that are causing some distress, or you being upset with your feminine energy. Maybe you feel like all you're doing is working and you just want to sleep and you want to rest. And subconsciously, your body's like, the only way to get you to rest is to get very drunk and very hungover, because then you know the next day you can call into work sick. And this is the only way to get you to stop. There can be a couple ways of this manifesting. Please lean into Saturn's support here, because the moon is getting some beautiful energy from Saturn in the sense of, I'm going to lean onto people that really love me, that Venus square Jupiter, or even having faith that love is yours. Maybe the love and support that you're wanting right now isn't physically present, but you know that you are loving yourself. Thoughts and beliefs around love are there. Maybe you're doing things that are bringing you love, pleasure, joy, and nurturing so that you can feel into that energy. Please, please, please be able to say no and have fierce boundaries on Thursday, because that full moon is going to be affecting everyone. So even if you're feeling relatively good, it might be one of those texts from someone, maybe even a lover, like, hey, how's it going? Intuitively, you know that that is not something you want to respond to, or that that person really has your best interest at heart, but you might be feeling vulnerable or open or wanting to help. Please just trust and protect your energy this week, especially, and please trust and honor your intuition. That's going to help immensely. And don't be afraid to say no, especially on Thursday. Now, Friday, this feels very much what feels safe and comfortable versus what you need to do to invest in yourself or the work that needs to be done. That moon in Cancer as well. Of course, the moon is in its home sign in Cancer. We now have that exact square between Venus and Jupiter. And so this could also be an opportunity as well where you feel like, I have the means to invest in one of these things. Which one am I going to invest in? Or this could be an opportunity where you feel and have opportunity to love something in your life at a more integrative level. Because that moon Mercury energy is still going to cause you to ponder. It's going to cause you to think. We're still in that full moon phase. It could also be like, what is my worth? How do I love? Who do I want to love? What do I want to love? The theme of relationships and value and worth is very strong. And also to where you want to invest that time, energy, and money. Now that you have had a little bit of time to integrate from that full moon in Gemini, this can be like, well, I feel like I don't have enough money if I were to invest in a coach, a trainer, this service, even though I know on paper it's going to help me. What if I don't have enough money? What if? And this is going to be like, if you want to continue feeling safe and comfortable at your current level, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that the work and the service and the product is still not going to be available or still is not going to help you at the end of the day. So it is going to be balancing it and knowing that you have the means, the opportunity, the resources, the faith to show you that you can have it both. You can feel safe and secure while investing, that money will come to you, that money is going to come back to you tenfold. What is your mindset around that, which what you have to do? I was kind of thinking about this as well, like New Year's resolutions. So a lot of people, January 1st, or when they get back from the holidays, they know they're going to go to the gym. They're committed, they're invested. Just because you get the gym membership, just because you go to the gym doesn't make the work easy. It doesn't mean that you still have to show up as many days of the week that you committed to. It doesn't mean that it's going to make it easier to hop on that treadmill, to hop on that machine, or to lift those weights. It's still going to be challenging. However, it will get easier and easier, but sometimes just committing, sometimes just showing up, sometimes just putting in the time, the energy, the commitment is what is required. And again, both Mercury and the moon are cardinal signs. So sometimes just initiating it, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, is the step in the right direction to get to where you want to be. So don't delay the work for comfort and security. Comfort and security is what feels good now, but you know you're wanting more. And again, this could also be potentially a conversation that needs to be had with a mother with a feminine energy in your life so that you can receive more love. And that doesn't need to be in a bad way. It just means that, okay, this is what I need. This is what I want. Let's have this open conversation, even if it might be uncomfortable or I'm afraid of confrontation. It's going to lead to love expanding in a way that I never thought possible or in a way that I never expected. So just be open to your mindset or conversations blessing you on Friday. Now, Saturday, pretty great day. We get to rejoice after having done some intense emotional and mental work. I say that because the moon, still in her home sign of Cancer, is making that trine to Neptune. This is really nice. This is really benevolent. And also just a complete shift in energy with Venus now in Capricorn. So I want you to look at the house in which Capricorn rules in your natal chart, because now with Venus, Mercury, and Pluto, 3 planets in that house, it's going to give a lot of activation. Also, too, if you have heavy earth energy in your chart, so Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, now that we have Venus and Mercury here, there's going to be huge activation in your life. Or just looking at the houses in which Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus rule, because those houses are going to get some nice flow now that we have Venus and Mercury and Pluto, of course, in Capricorn. And then we still have the North Node Uranus in Taurus. So there is going to be some activation there, which is going to be a complete shift, because now we moved from that heavy fire energy of Sagittarius now to more of that pragmatic, grounded, focused approach on the work, on security, on wealth, on these tangible energies to help support us for the new year, which is great. It all works out in our favor. And Sunday is kind of dramatic. I'm kind of a giddy and excited about this. I've been tracking this moon Pluto opposition basically all year, and it can lead to intense emotions. However, now that we have Jupiter here in Pisces, it's like when you get to the climax of a film, or when you want something so badly that nothing is going to stop you. It's almost like you hear those miraculous stories where a mother can lift up a car to save her baby or to save their loved ones. It's like, it just gives you that Pluto moon opposition is just actually fuel to get you to where you need to be. It's like, use fear as a motivator instead of something that holds you back. And maybe you're finally taking back power and control, because the moon and Venus have been making strong aspects all week. So it might be you taking back power from your mother, your grandmother, your feminine line or matriarch, or maybe you are taking back autonomy over your body and you're going to be prioritizing health and wellness to make sure that your mind, body, and soul are connected. Maybe you are honoring the rest, that you do not need to continually be in this masculine, heavy work state of mind, that you just want to take some time off for the holidays and you're going to clear your schedule and know that that's perfectly okay. There's going to be some nice activation, some nice energy here, but I want you to lean into maybe that discomfort all week. That's kind of a theme of leaning into it instead of being scared of it, but also on Sunday, because then halfway through Sunday, depending on your time zone, the moon is going to enter Leo, which is nice for some fire energy. But that's what I would say. Use fear as a vehicle for greatness instead of a roadblock. Okay. And I mean, the moon making a trine to Jupiter as well, that's very fertile energy. That's abundant energy. That's wealth type energy. So be open to miracles. Be open to surprises blessing you on Sunday. Boom. So the astrology question of the week from Araceli. Araceli is also the angel. If you follow these videos weekly, they post the timestamps for each day. So thank you. I see you. I appreciate you. Their question is, you often say, look at the house ruled by X. And I have my natal chart on PDF from Cafe Astrology that I pull up as I'm listening to you, but oftentimes, I don't know what the heck to make of it when using Sagittarius. For example, mine reads, Sagittarius in House 7, a union with a foreigner or a marriage abroad. She seeks happiness and intellectual companionship more than anything. I'm happily common lawed with a baby. LOL. He's the most brilliant man I've ever met in my BFF, but I'm just like, huh? What am I looking at or looking for on this day? Grateful for any guidance. So this is a good question. In general, whether it's a certain app or a certain website, they're just going to give you a general breakdown. So for this case, this would be a Gemini rising, which means Sagittarius rules the 7th whole sign house. So we find relationships, marriage, clients, all of that in the 7th house. So a lot of times these sites or apps will link Sagittarius with international travel, people from different lands, people that speak different languages, as a big kind of energy represented for Sagittarius. So if we're talking about the 7th house of marriage in Sagittarius, it's like, oh, marriage abroad, marriage from a foreigner, as something that the individual may come across. But of course, there's many things we look at, especially when it comes to marriage and love. So if I say, look at the house ruled by Sagittarius, and you have one of these printed out reports from AstroSeek, Astro.com, Cafe Astrology, Astrolab, whatever it may be, look at just the general theme of that house. So, and again, sometimes too, if you have a 7th house activation, like let's say Venus is moving through your 7th and you're like, cool, like maybe this might be a good time for my marriage, or I may find the one. Sometimes it's other people getting married and you're going to a wedding, which is still the theme of marriage. Maybe you get an increase in clients, or you receive a new benefic client from work, which is also a blessing, but not necessarily related to marriage. You might also find, if you are married, that your partner is the one getting the promotion or is really succeeding or becoming more beautiful, which is an energy of Venus as well, right? So sometimes it doesn't, I mean, if your partner in your marriage is getting more beautiful, I'm sure you would be happy about that just for their own happiness, and that you have this beautiful partner to enjoy, to connect with, that inspires you to work on your beauty, work on your health. So there's a lot of ways we can look at any of the houses. But if you do have an app or a website, try not to look at the general breakdown unless it was from an astrologer. If you got an astrology reading and the astrologer gave you the breakdown, that's a completely different story. But if it's just a generic breakdown, look at the themes of the houses. And I do have an ebook, Spirit and the Stars. It's $9.99 Canadian. One of the things I break down are all the different houses, the major themes that are found in each house. We look at different charts as well and break down Placidus versus whole sign, which is a very common question. I also talk about spirituality and tarot in addition to astrology, and the most common questions I get all the time. So if that's something that you would like to invest in, I will put the link in the description of the bio and you can take a look and see if you want to purchase that for more knowledge. Okay. Thank you all for watching. Of course, later on this week, I will have the full moon workshop available on our website, so you can stay tuned for that. Otherwise, if you have any other general questions or any fun stories to share of how the week unfolds for you based on the themes that we discussed, let me know. One last reminder, please protect your energy. Please ground your energy, making sure that your mind, your body are the number one priorities this week, especially with not taking in extraneous information, energy that is not going to help serve you this week. That's really, really important. Okay. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.